Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Rhino and in today's video I have 4 gameplays for you in the Tier 8 Premium German light tank, the Trailblazer. So this was one of 3 Hot Wheels Speerpanzer light tanks that came out. There was the Fast Track, the Tiger Shark and this one here, the Trailblazer. All the same, and they came out with the Hot Wheels collaboration with World of Tanks console, and it's a tank that I haven't played for a long time, until the past month, and then I realised just how damn OP this tank can be, especially if you set it up correctly, use the concealment that it has, the mobility, and this lovely 90mm auto loading gun to absolutely wreck the enemy. So in today's video I'll be showing you the 4 gameplays, how I like to play this vehicle, and I'll start by telling you my commander and equipment setup, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Trailblazer. And remember, this does apply to the Tiger Shark and the Fast Track. So whilst you're watching the gameplay here on Cliff, where we've taken up the middle position here in E3, what do I run on the Trailblazer? Well, in terms of the equipment, I run advanced optics, advanced concealment and gun stabilizer, and in terms of my commander skills, 6th sense, born leader, rapid loading, camouflage expertise, muffled shot, green thumb, situational awareness, steady aim and snapshot. And if you look at my setup, you can see that I am trying to utilize my vision, my concealment and a little bit of help to make the gun as accurate as possible, as well behaved, and try and boost the DPM just a little bit. So the Trailblazer has a silver bonus, 50%, so you can earn some nice silver, especially with the silver with interest event that is going on at the moment. That op is absolutely mental. If you have lots of boosters for XP and silver, combine them and yeah, watch your silver stash grow. And the Trailblazer also has a 10% XP bonus. So what is this vehicle all about? Well, as you can see, it is very small indeed. It's a Speerpanzer, a German Tier 8 premium light tank. It's very, very mobile, very, very sneaky, and you actually have 2 different gun options with the Trailblazer, the same as the Tiger Shark and the Fast Track, I should say. You have a 90mm single fire gun, and you also have a 90mm 3-shot autoloader. I prefer the autoloader because it's a fantastic ambush predator. However, you do have some advantages if you choose the single fire gun, and we'll talk about them in just a little bit. So how many hit points? 1100, pretty standard for a Tier 8 light tank, and you definitely need all of them because you only have hull armor of 10mm, I believe. So yeah, if you see this thing on the battlefield, you can absolutely wreck it with HE, overmatch it even with low caliber guns, and yeah, you do not want to get hit whilst you are playing this vehicle, and you don't want to get rammed as well because you are extremely light. However, you do have fantastic view range, 410 meters base view range, and with my setup that's gone up to 525 meters, meaning that when you combine that with the great still concealment rating this vehicle has, base it's like 317, I've got it down to a still concealment rating of around 250, then yeah, it's going to be very, very sneaky indeed. Very capable to outspot even other light tanks and sneaky tank destroyers, as you'll see me do here on Cliff, where we're picking up some beautiful assistance at the start, well, at the sort of mid part of this game. We've managed to sort of fight our way into this position, and now we're going to try and spot everything that's camping down in the southwestern corner of the map. So 1100 hit points, brilliant view range. How about the mobility? Well, I've already mentioned it's absolutely fantastic. 58 kilometers an hour forwards, 28 kilometers an hour backwards. You've got a really nice hull traverse of 52 degrees a second, fantastic for circling slow moving tanks, and your turret traverse is 44 degrees a second, so not quite as quick as your hull, but still pretty damn quick. And when you add the gun handling skills in, that does go up to nearly 50 degrees a second, so you are a very, very nimble light tank indeed. And you can see it's a very small profile, great for hiding in bushes, hiding behind sort of small rocks that other tanks, even some other light tanks, can only dream of. So how about these 2 gun options then? Well, I've mentioned the single fire gun option. It's a 90mm caliber gun. You have 182mm of penetration on your standard APCR rounds, 250mm of heat pen on your premium rounds, and a fantastic 102mm of HE pen if you want to use that as your third ammunition choice. Damage wise, 240 alpha damage on your standard and your premium, and 320 if you use those beautiful HE rounds. And you also have great shell velocity. 1080 meters a second is more than enough on your standard APCR, and it actually goes up with the heat, which is very unusual, to 1204 meters a second, so very good for sniping at mid to long ranges. And with heat rounds, it's a bonus because you won't lose penetration over distance, which is fantastic for a light tank. And if you want to use those HE rounds, 755 meters a second. With this single fire gun, you do have a slightly better DPM than the 3-shot autoloader, 2057 DPM, which means you have a 7-second reload for that 240 or 320 alpha damage, a 2-second aim time, which is slightly better than the 3-shot autoloader, and the same accuracy at 0.38, and you also carry one more round at 40 rounds. So if you don't like the sort of autoloader gameplay, that could be a good option for you. But we're just going to watch the end of this game as we try and sneak behind this tier 8 Italian tank destroyer, and then I'll talk to you about the 3-shot autoloader. Then yeah, we'll get stuck into talking about where I'm going on the maps and how I'm trying to play this very mobile and very sneaky light tank. So there on Cliff, we finish in the MVP slot with a nice profit with or without a premium account. High caliber, only a first class for 1701 base XP, 2 kills, 3.7k direct damage, and 1516 assistance. So a very nice game there in a 6 minutes 20-second battle. And now we're going to head on into the second gameplay of today's video, so I'll see you over there in just a second. So we are now into the second gameplay of today's video, and we are here on Fisherman's Bay in the Trailblazer. We have spawned in the south in a standard battle, and we're going to use the great mobility to try and do some spotting on the one line. So we're going to be trying to spot all of those tank destroyers that like to camp in the northwest of the map, and whilst we're going there, we're trying to spot this mid-ridge down the sort of western side of this mid-ridge, hopefully try and catch someone getting into position. But before we get talking about what's going on in the gameplay, I'll just finish talking about the second gun option that this tank has, the 90mm 3-shot autoloader, which is my preferred choice. So this 3-shot autoloader has an intra-clip reload of 2 seconds, which means that you can deal 720 damage in 4 seconds. You lose a little bit of DPM compared to the single fire gun. You have 1879 instead of 2057, and you reload those 3 shells in 19 seconds. You have a slightly worse aim time at 2.2 seconds, the same accuracy at 0.38 as the single fire gun. You carry 1 less round at 39, but I just prefer it because the playstyle suits me. I'm often just trying to be a scout in this tank, either passively like we're doing here or actively, and the autoloader allows me to sort of ambush a tank with that 720 clip potential, finish off a tank, and then use the mobility to try and escape and sort of rinse and repeat, and that's what we're going to be trying to do in the gameplay. And with my setup, if you're wondering what the stats are with this 3-shot autoloader, my DPM is 2227 with a 15.4 seconds reload for the 3 shells, and my aim time is now 2 seconds with an accuracy of 0.31. So as I said, we're trying to spot this one line here on Fisherman's Bay. We're in a tier 10 battle, so we do have to be very careful. Plenty of Ruthless and Death Star FE 4005 Grill 15, Waffenträger Panzer 4s can just absolutely obliterate me, and if they use those Hesh or the HE rounds, depending on the tank, yeah, we could be one shot very, very easily. So we're just going to be playing as carefully as possible, just poking this ridge, trying to get some juicy assistance on this Waffenträger Alpha E100, and also the other tank destroyers that are situated down here. We have a medium tank to our left who is going to be helping us out, so I'm pretty confident no one's going to YOLO me, and if they did, I'll just try to wiggle and escape and lead them towards my tank destroyers and artillery at the back of the map. Even though you are pretty mobile. You can see here going uphill you can struggle because you only have a 230 horsepower engine. You are an extremely light tank in terms of how heavy the tank is, and your power to weight ratio is still good at 24.03, but sometimes you can struggle to get up slopes. So we did try to reposition there to get up here just to keep spotting these tank destroyers. And yeah, we're just going to try and keep spotting, then we're going to try and shake off that sixth sense and then pop up from a slightly different location so we don't get blind fired. And just be patient at the moment. We are leading by 4 tanks. We've only lost 1 tank, a medium tank. And yeah, now we are leading by 5 tanks. I'm very confident. I feel like now is the time to sort of sit in this bush a little bit more in the open, but we do get spotted. We ran a little bit too close to the flame there. So what we're going to do is just zigzag and try and get under their gun lines right in front of me, and you can see all of this assistance flooding in. And I don't recommend playing this aggressively. As a rule, of course, you can play it active like we are doing now, and I'm pretty confident once I get under this gun line, nobody is going to try and sort of come after me, and if they do, they're just going to get absolutely obliterated, and I'll get all that juicy assistance. You do have that mobility to try and wiggle, but yeah, as you see, when you get hit, you lose an awful lot of hit points, and now we're just trying to be as cheeky as possible. This Waffenträger Panzer IV looks like he's going to be coming round after us. I'm going to reverse up this slope, use the momentum to go down. Hopefully he can't depress his gun in time, and then we're going to put our clip into him. He misses his shot, we put 2 into him, we damage his ammo rack, and yeah, now he's going to be a goner, and we got all that damage and all that juicy assistance from a tier 9 German tank destroyer, and then we get all that beautiful assistance from someone absolutely clapping that Waffenträger auf E100. So a great sort of mid to latter stages of this game where our patience down that one line has paid off. We allowed our team to sort of close in here on the north, and now we can reap the rewards. Now is the time when I'd like to have some more hit points left to trade and use this autoloader and get damage, but we did take a big shot, so we're just going to carry on spotting. Sometimes your job in a light tank is just to get that assistance, and in my opinion, sometimes a win is more important than the damage that I'm doing. Unless I'm doing marks, and then I'd like a little bit more damage to add to the spotting assistance as well. So we managed to get some damage in there. We're getting some assistance still for this object 432 and also this equalizer. We're nearly reloaded. It doesn't take too long at all, and the DPM's pretty nice for an auto loader. Put 1 into the equalizer, and then we can finish off the object 432, finishing a very decent game there on Fisherman's Bay, where we played more scout, less damage dealing, but yeah, that's what this tank is meant for. So again, a nice profit with or without a premium account. Finished top of the team in the MVP slot, 1478 base XP with 2 kills, 1.3k direct damage and 4.7k assistance. And that's it for the second game. We're now going to head on into the third one, so I'll see you over there in just a little bit. So now we are into the third game of today's video, and we are here on Westfield in the Trailblazer. We spawned in the northeast. It's an encounter battle, so the capture circle's right in the centre of the map, and this is the perfect map. My favourite map in the game and my favourite map for a light tank. Plenty of open space so we can get some lovely juicy assistance. However, there are 2 other light tanks on our team. We're going to have to fight for the assistance, and we don't want to make that become our downfall in the fact that we can get too aggressive too early, trying to be the one to spot before anyone else. However, I'm still going to have to take up my position and see if we can spot anyone covering down the south. This is about as far as I usually go, and I don't want to go any further, because once you go further you are on an upslope, meaning that when you have to run away, if something like a manticore spots you, yeah, then that can be your demise. Now we can use the downslope and the momentum to our advantage, wiggle, just trying to shake off that sixth sense, and whilst we're doing so, we'll just fire a couple of cheeky shots at this leopard, and even though we don't use run and gun, it's still fantastic on the move. Very similar to the T100 LT, the Soviet tier 10 light tank, which is just more accurate on the move than it is when you actually aim in for God knows what reason. It just feels fantastic. And if you use run and gun, maybe instead of something else, my setups of course is just a guide for you to use, then you can definitely make this an extremely accurate tank on the move. But with the fantastic turret reverse and hold reverse, I feel that it's not really needed, and usually when I'm circling a tank it's going to be up close and personal, so it's not really an issue to have that little bit extra on the move accuracy. So we've managed to pick up 926 assistance and 583 damage. We are down by a tank, but it's still really close. Keeping that Manticore spotted on that hill, that's a very sneaky British tier 10 light tank that we do want to try and get taken out of the game. And we're also spotting those tanks down the south that are hiding behind the ridgelines. And as soon as we get these tanks out of the way, we can try and push up the western side and then isolate the enemy tanks in the north. And that's my plan, just keep circling around here, keep spotting those tanks above me and also down the south. And yeah, whenever we get spotted, we're using this slope as momentum. I usually try and reverse into a position, as this is a rear mounted turret, even though it's an extremely small tank. Another great shot there on the move on that T28. You know, sometimes it's just worth it. I'm spotted already. If I wasn't spotted, I might not consider it, but I don't think there's too many tanks over there. A lot of the enemy tanks, what looks like, are towards the north of the map in the hills, in that brawling location. So we're going to race now down here into the south. Maybe we can get behind this Peugeot 54, and I believe there's also a tank destroyer up here that we can hopefully take out of the game. I'm just going to try and clear one flank before we move on. I'm not too fussed that we haven't picked up too much damage. We've done our scouting job pretty well, and that's the main role of this tank. And usually the damage comes later on in the Trailblazer when there's less tanks on the battlefield, more chance for you to use your mobility and get up behind and ambush tanks like this poor GSAW 1008. And I believe we ammo racked him there, very unnecessary ammo rack to finish off that tier 8 premium British tank destroyer. And now we're just going to try and zigzag, shake off that 6th sense, and then we can go after this Peugeot 54, the tier 8 Italian tech tree auto reloading heavy tank. Probably not going to go for a shot there. Our penetration isn't quite good enough to go through the front of that tank reliably, especially from a kind of mid-range like we were there. So maybe we can try and snipe this Manticore at distance. You can see there the shell velocity on the APCR at over 1000 meters a second isn't too bad, and like I said when we were talking about these guns, it actually goes up with the heat, which is very unusual. Heat's usually slightly lower shell velocity than APCR, but I'm not going to complain. Heat's my preferred choice, and probably why this tank is so damn good. And I did mention at the start of this video it's probably a little bit overpowered, and what I mean by that is it's overpowered for players that maybe have 9 skill commanders that are used to playing light tanks and can abuse the vision mechanics of this game, especially obviously in the World War II game mode where there's no true vision. We're able to use the bushes, we use the rings on the minimap to make sure that we can fire quite often without getting detected at all. And yeah, that's the key to playing light tanks, especially in the World War II game mode. Use that vision system, abuse it, and then people just won't be able to spot you. And when you are fighting tiers that are below you, quite often there'll be commanders with less than 9 skills and newer players that just won't have a clue what is shooting them. And that's kind of the learning curve that some find encouraging, like I did, and some actually get put off by the game. I don't mind it too much. I think it's just one of those things that you have to grind up towards, get used to it, and once you get used to it you can have big damage games in light tanks. And of course, when you're a tier 8 light tank, you're often firing at tier 9, tier 10 tanks and getting that extra XP. So it took a little bit longer here on Westfield to clear out this sort of southern flank. Now we can push up the east and hopefully isolate those tanks in the north. The Manticore's coming down, but it's not really too big a threat for me. We have enough damage in the 720 clip, which is another reason or example why I'm using this clip for situations like this. If that Leopard Wheel wasn't there, we could have gone after that Manticore and finished him off in a clip, and that's a tier 10 light tank taken out of the game. I'm very aware the Manticore has very poor DPM, so I'm kind of willing now, as we have preserved our hit points well in this game, to take a shot if necessary to get some damage in and help out our tank that is pushing the medium tank that is right in front of me. Got one more shell left, going to try and put it on this Manticore. And my tip for trying to fire at tanks on the move. If you're not good at tracking them and you don't have a steady hand, it's just a case of guessing where they're going, looking at their movements. Are they going left, right, and if they are, predicting where they're going to be, put your reticle there and just wait for them to come into your reticle rather than just following them, because sometimes in certain tanks you're not going to be quick enough to actually follow them, and sometimes, like me, your hand's going to be a bit shaky and you're going to have terrible aim. So it's just about using what you know to your advantage, and that's probably my biggest tip for shooting things on the move in any tank. And of course, the higher the shell velocity, the better. So we've definitely kept an eye on our count there. We only had 2 rounds left of APCR, so we've switched to heat so we can have 3 rounds, and that's helped us go through what looks like an AFK object 432, and this is just like a nice little treat at the end of the game, a little bit of supper before we go to bed and go back to the garage, and we get some damage there, get the kill and some assistance there on Westfield. So a little bit of a longer game there, but again a pretty damn good game. 4 kills. We picked up a sniper medal, first class, 1802 base XP, 3k direct damage, 3.9k assistance, and a great profit with or without a premium account. So that's it for that game there on Westfield. We're now going to head on into the 4th and final gameplay of today's video. So we're into the 4th and final gameplay of today's video, and we are on Thiepval Ridge in an encounter battle, and we have spawned in the southwest of the map. And this is another map like Westfield, lots of bushes, open areas where we can abuse the vision mechanics of World of Tanks console and use this fantastic little light tank to try and get some juicy assistance early on. So we do have a light tank below us going a little bit further forwards, but don't let tanks that are going straight into the fray put you off where you're intending to go, because if you have set your tank up correctly, especially with a tank like the BLAZER with that great base view range of 410 meters that we have boosted up to about 525 meters, yeah, you're able to outspot tanks that are sometimes even in front of you. And you don't want to go too far too early, because if you get caught out, especially on a map like Thiepval Ridge with lots of ridge lines and things that can slow you down, it can be your demise. So what we're doing here is hiding in this bush. We're trying not to knock down trees to let anyone know where we are, and we have this rock here, and it's a position that I've used very often in both the World War II game mode and the Cold War game mode. It means that if someone did try and snap a shot at us, if we got spotted, if we just lurch forward, a lot of times the shots will just go straight into the rock, and if someone blind fires me here, there's a chance that they're just going to hit the ridge or hit the rock in front of me. So it's a great position for your light tanks, especially on this encounter battle on Thiepval Ridge, where the encounter capture circle is right in the center of the map. And we're just spotting for our teammates here. There's going to be lots of tanks to the right of me on the eastern side of the map in sort of E and F 8 and 9, where they're going to be camping that hill. There's also going to be tanks pushing the western side of the map, where there's often a little bit of brawling going on. But we get spotted, we're going to shake that off, come behind the castle, use some hard cover to our advantage, and then we're going to reverse up into a position again. And when we're going to fire on this T-34, we're going to pull behind this bush just a little bit to increase our camo rating. We do get 1 damaging shot in, and then we're just going to go for a reload. And I always advise you, if you're going to be traveling into a different position like we are here, or when you know that you're safe, always try and just go for that reload so that you're ready for that next big ambush. That's where the single fire gun of course has an advantage in DPM and the fact that you can just continuously fire. But yeah, if you're sensible with your reloads, keep looking at your ammo count, yeah, then you should be golden in this tank. So it's not been too long in this battle, only like 2 minutes 30 seconds, and we're already up to 1.7k direct damage and 1700 assistance. And now we're going to try and put some shots into this Tiger 1. A little bit greedy there as we sat out in front of the Tiger 1, so we do take a shot, and we take a second shot from an SU 130 PM, and if he was using HE we would probably be dead there. So we're a little bit of a lucky boy. We're going to lick our wounds, get rid of this sixth sense, and yeah, try and find a different place to spot out the tanks. And it can be very frustrating when you are spotting the tanks and just people aren't shooting what you're spotting, but don't let that sort of wind you up, get you to go too aggressive and get yourself killed, because like tanks, the longer the battle goes on, the more they become more influential. You can use your mobility to get around the map, use your concealment to outspot in the open areas, and that can be the difference between a win and a loss. And a good light tank is capable of clutching game at the end rather than a slow lumbering heavy with poor view range and poor concealment. So a lot of, I'm guessing, the more experienced players and some of the better players play a lot of light tanks because they're so influential. And if you're just looking to improve your WNA, if you get good in light tanks, that's definitely what it's going to do for you, because it rewards you very nicely indeed. And they can be very fun 3 marks and a little bit easier than some other tanks because you have that ability to get the extra spotting assistance that other tanks don't. With sort of heavy, medium, sometimes you're going to be spotting, but most times trying to get some tracking assistance. And with light tanks, it's mainly the spotting. So we're going to wait for that T-34 to reverse up a little bit, get behind this bush, in the bush, get a bit of extra concealment, and we fire there with heat, which retains the penetration over distance, and we take out that tier 8 premium American heavy tank. We are 1 tank up, but it's an extremely close game, so I'm playing with fire here in these ridge lines, but we're so small we are able to sort of sit in these little dips if needs be and just pray to God that we don't get shot from any of the tanks that are at the back. There are 3 tank destroyers and 2 RT, which is very, very dangerous for me, but I'm going to be the one to have to go forward and spot because we do have quite a lot of tanks dotted around in good position. So if I spot, I'm just going to hope that my team actually shoot what I am spotting. So very careful here. Going to turn around, try and reverse and spot what is over this ridgeline, but we do get spotted and we have to dip down out of harm's way. Go into the capture circle, which isn't ideal because they're going to know where I am, and if I leave it, they're going to know that I have left the capture circle, of course, but that was the safest route out. And be very careful when you're driving on Thiepval Ridge because you are such a light tank that any kind of dip and nudge can lose you some hit points. So when you're on low hit points anyway, yeah, that could send us back to the garage prematurely and mean that we have a bad game. So we take out that Tiger 1, and unfortunately, as we're making our way into position, we do spot a Tiger P, but we do get spotted in return. So I'm just checking if anyone has shots on me that I can see, and now we're going to try and get out of harm's way. I'm hoping this Tiger P has carried on his journey, but I'm very aware that he's going to probably be coming for me. So we're 1 tank down now, very close. I'm very aware that I'm on low hit points, so my next moves are going to have to be very well thought out. So I know this ridgeline here will protect me, and if anyone comes over, hopefully they get taken out. We spot the artillery in the back there, and you see me reversing again so I can quickly get away with the good mobility of the Trailblazer, get some more assistance, and I'm coming down here expecting this Tiger P to be around this ridgeline. I was expecting him maybe to be facing and going off in the other direction, however he wasn't. Artillery is aiming at us, so we're going to try and make our moves as unpredictable as possible, try and stick close to these rocks so that he doesn't have the shell arc to hit us, act like we're going around that way to come around the Tiger P, and then double back on ourselves. Hopefully that will confuse the Tiger P, confuse the enemy team, and then we can set up an ambush on another tank. But this Tiger 1's making hard work of killing the Tiger P. Maybe the Tiger 1 is stock, so we're going to go in, use the dead tank and this Tiger 1 as a distraction, and hopefully take out this Tiger P. Unfortunately, nearly blocks us and gets us killed. No fault of his own, it's just one of those things that happens in the game. And now the artillery is gunning for us, so we're just going to keep on the move, keep zigzagging, and then we can come up here towards the north and hopefully spot out these artillery again and get those piggies out of the game. Trying to get my tank destroyers now and my heavy tank that's in the northeast of this map to actually get going. It can be frustrating on Thiepval Ridge, things like Erlenberg, maps like that, where it does promote a little bit of camping because of these wide open areas. So when you're on your mobile tanks, like your light tanks and your medium tanks, you just want to make the most of the opportunity for you to be the one that gets the spotting assistance and the one to sort of push the battle forward, because quite often on maps like this, timers can run out and it's the tank or the team that sort of blinks first that loses. So we do spot 2 tanks here, the Sturm VK3601H had slow shell velocity, so we can probably avoid his shells, and we also spot that I think it's the Sturmtiger P there, so don't want to get hit by any of them, even if they splash near me, likely to take me out. Narrowly avoid a good blind fire there by the artillery as we're making our escape. And now we're going to act like we're coming round the back of those two tanks we just previously spotted, but we're going to go a little bit further round, and hopefully we can use our concealment to our advantage. And got to be patient in these kinds of scenarios, especially when you're on low hit points. Take opportunities where you can. We have shots here on this SU 130 PM, so we're going to put a shot there, track him in place, and then we get the kill, helping our tier 8 German tank destroyer, the Striker, out. Going to go for our reload, and then hopefully we can come up behind this Sturmtiger P, at least that's what I believe it was, and this Sturm VK 3601H, and hopefully push this game towards a win for our team. Slowly running out of ammunition. As you can see, you carry one less round with this 3-shot autoloader, so going to have to try and be a little bit careful, because it's looking like we're going to have to come in clutch with a little bit more damage and assistance. And that's when it can be a little bit infuriating in this tank, when you have the opportunity to finish a game off, but you are a little bit hesitant to shoot, and that's when you can miss some shells. So we're going to go over these bridges as quickly as possible. We do spot that artillery there. Thought about having a shot there, but if there's anyone to my right, like that VK, we would have got spotted. Fortunately for us, they've moved more towards the north of the map, so hopefully we can get some side shots into them in a middle. And it was right, it was a Sturmtiger P. My memory isn't quite as bad as it probably should be for how tired I am at the moment. And now we're going to go up and come after this artillery. Fortunately, our first shot sets that M12 on fire, and our friendly artillery was pre-aimed and takes out that M12. Going to go for a reload, so we do have the full 3 shells to be able to clip out either of these tanks, and I highly recommend keeping an eye on your ammo count, managing your shells, try and get 3 shots in wherever possible, so you do have the clip potential to do what we're doing here to this Sturm VK 3601H. Unfortunately, the last one, as its heat hit its tracks, just what looked like tracked him or got absorbed by the track. So we're going to go on a reload, go as far away up here as possible to avoid getting spotted while we're reloading, and then try and coming from a different point of attack. There's only 4 minutes left on this battle, so we're going to have to try and speed up the game just a little bit, try and get a kill as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, we catch this FV304, the little Bert the Avenger there, firing on our teammates, and now this is just a case of hoping the Sturmtiger has a bad shot, and yeah, we get behind hard cover just in time. And because the reload's so good, by the time we've sort of swiveled round, we are going to be loaded. Unfortunately, I've done the error that I was telling you not to do and just loaded the 1 shell with heat. However, that will allow us to put one into the Sturmtiger P. It looks like he has an automatic fire extinguisher or fantastic reflexes, as the fire gets put out very, very quickly. But that was a little bit of fortune on our part. And now we're down to our last 7 shells, and we can hopefully take out this Sturmtiger P. He can't see us through the bush, and that's all she wrote for this game in the 4th and final gameplay of today's video in the German Tier 8 Premium Light Tank, the Trailblazer. So MVP in that game, a fantastic profit with or without a premium account. Finally got Mastery Badge, High Caliber. We got the Top Gun there for 2.5k base XP, 6 kills, 5.3k direct damage, 3.9k assistance in an 11 minutes and 49 second battle, and that's very rare to see a game that lasts that long in the current meta of World of Tanks console. But I thought I'd bring out this tank again, show you what it's capable of if you haven't played it for a while, and if you come up against them, yeah, load the HE, take them out, because they are very dangerous tanks. And I hope you've enjoyed today's videos and today's video and the replays. If you did, please leave a like, it helps the channel out. And until next time, I'll see you on the battlefield, and bye for now.